Hello, and welcome to the Handy Capable Black Woman Throne Room Reddit Podcast Edition. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handy capable, but most importantly, I am human. And this is an interesting one, so I have to tie that in because just know my view of humanity is a whole new tea. So, if you're ready, because we're going to be sipping today, if you have a snack, get a beverage. Let's start. What do you women think of a house husband? And gentlemen, what do you guys think of a housewife? It's traditional, and a lot of men don't like how much freedom women have had over the last few decades or couple decades and everything. A lot of them don't like the freedom and the opportunities that a lot of women have been able to obtain, and a lot of the things that we have been able to accomplish. Whew, don't get me started with, okay, this is in my opinion, but I also have some proof to back it up. If you've listened to previous episodes, you already know how a lot of white male Republicans, oh, they can't stand if a black woman's able to do something, or if something messes up, oh, it was a woman or it was a person of color, especially a black woman. Of course, it's always our fault. But what do you guys think right now? And I'm going to kind of spill my tea, talk about and discuss this topic because it's really interesting to me. Because, okay, I'm going to read it, then I'm going to dive in. So, what do women think of a house husband? This question also assumes a few things, so it's fair. The wife's job supports the relationship, so the husband not working causes no financial strain. The husband takes care of the house, cooks, etc. The husband doesn't deteriorate from being a house husband. I'm mainly asking this question because with how my life has gone so far, I really don't want to have to work to support a family, but I have no issue with raising a family. So I'm just wondering if that is feasible or not. So I am just wondering if that is feasible or not. What's going on out here? And I say that from a perspective of I'm not a traditional woman, and especially out in the dating world, I've learned a lot. And one reason why I'm I'm adapting with being single, but don't worry. Oh no, people are still trying to get my attention and mingle. Don't get that twisted. But one of the reasons why, especially I broke up with my 7-year Mr. Lockakey and 7-year Mr. No Heart was because they were both stopping and blocking me. And they were very selfish and only wanted for themselves. And I was literally helping them. I won't say fully taken care of, but if they did not have my help, they would not be where they are, and they both know it. So I'll give a couple of examples before I continue, because I know some people are going to say, oh, she thinks she's all that. No, I don't. I just know when I'm in a relationship, I want to make sure we're both stable, we're both okay. Like, if he needs my back, I'll cover his back. It's like I have that philosophy of just like, okay, we work together. But then I found out, yeah, he wants to work together as long as he's the one that's being worked on. whenever I needed support, no, never. Because with Mr. Lockakey, the 5 year relationship, Mike Lockakey, who he he didn't really care about, like, he would brag at the beginning about me getting going to grad school for my second master's and everything like that. But then once it was time for me to get to work and study and stuff, he would kind of brag, but then at the same time, like, why are you doing this? It's like, are you trying to do more than the man? Are you trying to look better and stuff like that? And if you guys listen to my podcast or previous episodes, you know he was addicted to special candy. And with that special candy, it was dragging him down, taking him to the lowest points of the earth and everything. But at the same time, he was trying to drag me with him, literally. And I've never, oh no, I was like, I've never taken it. But if you guys listen to my breadsticks episode, yeah, then you will see how he tried to do it. And that's only one of the times. But like when he was, after he got caught stealing from job after job, and then he had a hard time looking for work, and he even tried to, he applied and became a stripper at a gay club. And I still remember when the morning when I went by his house after his first shift, he was bawling, crying, because he only ended up getting $1, and $1 because the guy felt bad for him. And it's like, part of me wonders, like, if he thought I was going to be jealous that he was getting the job, and part of me was just like, well, if you try to steal from this job, it's not going to turn out that well. So I thought it was going to be interesting. And I already knew I was going to be breaking up with him, not because of that position, but because he put me in awful situations to the point where I was like, this is not worth it. Because whenever I needed him to have my back, whenever I needed his support, no. And then when I broke up with him, he still owed me money, and I wish I had a contract for it, and I didn't, because it was 5 years. So part of me was just like, okay, he knows he owes me money, and because I loaned him money, so when he went to job interviews, he would have gas money, and like if he needed to go pick up a sandwich or a bite to eat or something, he would have it. He skipped so many job interviews and just went to a friend's house to consume special candy with my money. With my money. Yeah, I caught on later on. But when I asked for that money back, yeah, that's when, like, if you guys have listened, you already know what happened. Yeah, he blackmailed me. And he said, if you want this money, you have to be my girlfriend again. And you have to sleep with me a certain amount of times. And if you don't make up your decision within 2 weeks, I'm going to double the requirements. Oh, what a great guy, right? Yeah, he is just creme de la creme. Yeah, no. It's like I'd rather go on a date with Oscar the Grouch. But then Mr. No Heart, oof, whenever he needed support with it or help with his daughters, he couldn't like fill up his gas tank, and so he would always like come to me. Like he would always tell me, but one time I just wanted to tell him, call your mother, call your mother, because he would literally skip at like he would threaten to say, "Oh, like I'm gonna skip out on work because I'm not gonna have enough gas to get to work," while he's buying his like smoking material and everything like that. And he's like he would choose a carton of cigarettes over his children. He did all the time. But part of me was just like, if you miss out on work, how are you going to pay your rent? How are you going to pay your child support? How are you going to pay your lawyer's fees for your from your divorce? So I would lay $20 or $40 next to his computer. But I thought, when I need him, he'll have my back. No, he didn't. He never did. Like when one of my parents passed away, didn't show up, I asked him, pleaded with him. I told him I needed your support. No, he didn't. When I had to have surgery, no, he didn't call me to check up on me, nothing. He didn't come by the house, nothing. And so, but at the same time, these men always wanted my financial help. So now I'm going to dig into this question, because like he's saying that he doesn't want to like work and support a family, but he has no problem raising a family. Okay, what about if she loses her job? How about if she gets injured? How about if something happens to her financial situation, which will in turn mess up your financial situation? And look at the economy. It's like it used to be where the man had that power where he could be the only one to work, and then the woman like had to stay home and take care of the kids and everything. But look at the minimum wage. Look at the salaries, and look at I just learned about a week or two ago that the housing situation has increased like 300%, especially compared to salaries and minimum wage and everything like that, and how much harder it is for especially millennials to be able to buy houses. It's so much more of a challenge. But this guy, he has the nerve to say, I really don't want to have to work to support a family. So, you want to raise a family? Are you able to be responsible to take care of a family? Or should you just not have kids? Maybe you should just be single. Or is the reason that you want to make sure you marry somebody is so that she can take care of you? Because I think even though with Mr. No Heart and Mr. Lockakey, they knew my business goals, they knew my determination and my drive. So I think they mostly want to stick around with me because, like, whenever they needed me, I did whatever I could to help and support, even though I realized it wasn't balanced whatsoever. Like, and it's annoying and frustrating because either or, as a woman, as a male, you need to have financial backing. And I heard in one video where the woman was just like, with your prenup and stuff, have a contract where he has to pay you A, B, and C a week for making his lunches and making sure he has clean laundry for work and taking care of his kids and etc. etc. Because it's like, if you're not, well, for women, it's like if she's not submissive enough, he might just turn around and leave her for someone else. Same thing might go on for you. If you don't become that submissive, like an obedient, or stay in line with what they want, demand, and desire, they might just turn around and find another younger version of you. So you need to make sure you have some kind of financial backing. And also, if if they get injured, or if they pass away, something, it's like, especially you say family, so I'm guessing kids. How are you going to take care of those kids? And other than life insurance, and your kids are going to be watching what you guys do. It's like, yeah, I'm not the traditional type, so it's like, yeah, I have no problem cooking and cleaning and everything, but at the same time, I have ideas, I have business goals and things, so I'm not the type that's just going to stay at home. But I mean, there are some people who that's their that's their way, that's their style, that's their space. But especially with the men I've met out there, I don't trust. No, I don't trust it. Because if I risk staying at home all the time, not obtaining a penny, and then they try to leave me, I'm at risk of like not knowing where I'm going to live and also spending time with the children and etc. etc. I'm not willing to do that. So I would highly recommend, okay, you don't like working. Is there some kind of hobby you can turn into a financial situation where it's at least bringing in something? Because even with Mr. No Heart, he offered to start a business with me, and I bought everything for that business. And he assembled it because he used to do a similar business up north, but since it was with my money and my credit cards, he he did whatever because he promised that every month he was going to pay a part of it and the interest. He told me do not worry because he was going to pay it down and just don't worry. How much do you think he paid on it? After 6 months, he told me, like, he gives up. He doesn't want to do it anymore. So then I had to pay it off, interest and all. And now it's still sitting in his house or his garage at his house. And I'm like, right now, it's like while I'm working on my businesses, one of my plans is to save enough money so I can get a U-Haul truck to go get this and some gentlemen to pay them to move it. And so I can start it again. And the sad thing is, behind my back, he might have started it again. And it's like, I should be getting half that money because I'm the reason he was able to get it. I remember going to Home Depot and stuff with him and him grabbing all the materials and me getting the receipts, seeing like 1,000 for this, 2,000 this receipt, and 3,000 another receipt, and then still had to get some of the like other equipment or whatever. And yeah, he used me. And I thought it was for us. I thought it was for us to advance, but no, he gave up on it. And so, if you're going to start a business, make sure it's something you really want to do, something you're not going to give up on, and something to the point where even if your spouses are going to get involved, if they quit, you're able to keep going. I would be able to keep going, but it's again at his house in his garage. I am, yeah, it's like, I will say that full, complete story another time. But one piece of advice, if you have a hobby, an interest, something, find something to make money off of because you don't know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and you need something. And with part of that, invest it so that it works for you. It's like have it build interest. So it's like, because I know a lot of people, or yeah, let's just say in the dating world, sometimes when I say up front, I want to date a guy who has an investment plan, has ideas at least of a way for his money to work for him. And a lot of certain men, they tell me that's only for white people. Why are you doing something so nerdy? Why are you doing something that we don't do? So have your money work for you. So, and really know, do you want children? Because you don't have children yet, but you say you don't want to work. Children are work. It's like helping them with their homework. If they get sick, going to the ER, taking them to school, making sure like all of their clothes are clean and they're clean and everything. It's like taking them to the dentist and doctor's appointments. And I mean, that's just the start, but there's so much to it. That is work. And I don't know if you had a stay at home parent, but just can you think of like, because even like cooking and cleaning, like what about if one of them has a certain type of allergy, the grocery shopping and making sure like like with their lunches, either their lunch money or their lunches are prepared on a daily basis. And then what about clubs? Are you going to let them play soccer? You're going to have to discuss that with your wife. It's like which sports, because I know some people are like, no, not football, because that's too rough, and or I'm not gonna let my child do like ballet even, or artists or art class or whatever. So it's like what activities, what time it does it go on, because you're gonna have to circle all of your activities around their activities. So it's like you say you don't want to work, but being a parent is work. And you have to remember that your children are going to be watching and seeing what you do. So you're going to want to make sure they see, like, because if you don't want to work, you might end up with kids who don't want to work unless you just want them to follow what their mom does. And why don't you want to work? What did your parents do? What kind of career did they have? Were they financially stable with what they did? Were they financially responsible? So there's so many different questions that can be asked and covered with this topic, but one thing I know is make sure you have a balanced like relationship. Make sure that especially either prenup, life insurance, something, but have something to the point where you get something. And because you never know, like you might marry her and then a few years later she's like, no. And how are you going to trust somebody that much? It's like your whole financial lifestyle is going to be dependent on her. And I'm still just wondering, like, you say you don't want to work to support a family, but I keep looking at the don't want to work or don't want to have to work. What jobs did you have that just made you cringe and hate working so much? And a lot of people hate their job, but at the same time, they're able to save up their money and go on trips and do amazing, fantastic, wonderful things with it. So, what got you to the point where you no longer want to work at all? And just think with some women, or with it's traditional that a woman stays at home, but do you know why a lot of women refuse to go that route now? Because back in the day, we weren't even allowed to have a checking account or savings. Like with the whole banking system, we were like, I remember, like what my mom remembers when she was able to go into the bank and get her accounts and stuff. My mom. And a lot of my female family members, and like, I mean, I've met other people too who tell me how they're like, since they were at home taking care of the kids and the family, their husbands did whatever they wanted, cheated on them, and just like went to the bar and drank, or they did whatever they wanted to do because their wives had to suck it up. Because if they didn't, they could leave them for someone else. The woman was dependent on them because they had no financial freedom. So they had no choice but to stick around. They had to stick around. Are you willing to have to stick around? Not out of love, but obligation? Or because you would be homeless? I mean, I'm just curious. And I mean, maybe I'm just happy that it's like I'm still working on my stuff to come about and everything so I can market and advertise. But I'm happy that I have a creative mind and I have a lot of ideas to at least try to create my own types of income. But I will be looking for a traditional job as well to work. And while I'm working, when I get home, I'm going to be working on these projects. And it's like with parts of the money going to invest it with so that it can gain interest and grow. So I have a plan for myself, and I know I need to discuss this in another episode of my, like, because I even talk about this with my students with but I do it in an advertising marketing way, because and a lot of it is like some of the reasons why I did start one new idea was because of the marketing and advertising aspect of it. But then it kind of blew up, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's okay. This is cool. This is amazing. But do you have any ideas that can be just that? That can just blow up in your face and just be a creation that you own, and you can gain financial freedom to the point where, yes, your wife can go to work and you stay at home, but you can stay at ease because even if you guys divorce or want to end the marriage, you have financial backing and you can support yourself, because that's a big thing. You want to be able to support yourself. And there's a lot of people who are like, they've lasted, their marriages have lasted, didn't get divorced, and the woman is the housewife or the male. And I'm just like, hey, I salute you. Congratulations. I'm happy for you. But I just know from my experience, watch like with family members and things like that, and hearing my aunt say they didn't stay married out of love. Nope. They didn't stay married out of love. They stayed married because they had nowhere else to go. They knew he was cheating. They knew they were cheating a lot. They knew they were using money on stuff they shouldn't have been using money on, but they couldn't say anything because if they did, he would kick her out or leave her, and then she would have nothing to live off of. And especially with the kids, they could not risk that. That's not fair. So I know it's like like some people are going to be like, what did some of that have to do with it? A lot of it. I've been in relationships where, yeah, relationships aren't fair, especially when both parties are not that mature. And Mr. No Heart and Mr. Lockakey, they took advantage of me and they did what they wanted to do and they enjoyed it. So I learned a lot from it, and I'm more determined now than ever to make sure my goals are achievable. But thank you for listening to the Handy Capable Black Woman Throne Room Reddit edition. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handy capable. But most importantly, I am human.